Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Desi or Advent, depending on where you know me from. In this channel, I'm dedicated to sharing my expertise in trading psychology, as well as providing you with technical strategies to help you become a more disciplined and patient trader. So, today we're going to be going over how to manage yourself in moments of struggle and drawdown. And I want to share an experience of mine. Back in February, the last 2 weeks of February, I ended red. I probably had maybe out of the 8 or 9 trades days that I traded, about 5 to 6 of them were red. And I haven't had a period of drawdown like that in quite a while. And what I would do in the past is I would be like, all right, let me trade some more to make that money back. Or let me go ahead and look for a different strategy and things like that, because clearly this one isn't working anymore. However, the biggest thing that we should be doing in these moments, or at least what I did, was I'm like, all right, I've been taking these same setups for the past 2, 3 years, and they've always worked, right? I haven't gone through more than a week or so that I've been in a drawdown phase, and I'm like, all right, something's changed. Like, what exactly is going on? Is it something that's going on with my mindset, how I'm looking at the market, or my approach to the market? Was it something based on skill? Did I get sloppy? Did I start getting lazy with my setups and things like that? Or is there something changing in the market environments that I'm not adapting to properly? So, what I ended up doing is based on all my journaling, and then I started analyzing the market a little more. I noticed that after the middle of February, we started getting big volatility spikes, right? For example, I mainly trade futures. While I do trade options, most of my trading happens on the futures markets. So I usually trade the Dow Jones. So on average, let's say a 5 minute candle, I would usually look at it and it'll be in a range of 40 to 70 points on average. Now, what I've noticed when I went back in my journal for that second half of February, I'm like, all right, looking at the chart and looking at volatility, it looks like we're almost doubled or triple the usual volatility that we usually get, right? So I'm here being used to 40, 70 point candles, but now we're getting a 100 to 250 point candles, which is insane, right? I have never traded futures during that environment, so this was new to me. And the biggest thing is always adapting to what's going on, right? So I took a step back and I looked at the setups that I was taking, and I noticed, for those who know the 15-minute retest setup that I take, the 15-minute orb retest to be exact, I use fixed take profit and stop loss levels based on my back testing and forward testing. However, because the volatility of the market increased, that setup wasn't viable any longer in those high volatile environments. So what I did is I took a step back and I put that specific setup on the back burner for now until volatility comes back down, because it was clear by my results that that specific setup with the specific market conditions and the volatility did not work. So one thing that I want to share with you guys on what to avoid when these things happen is, well, actually, before I go into that, let me continue with how I got out of that moment. Once I identified what was working and what was not working, I was still looking at my other setups as I normally would, since those are based on price action and pretty much just what the chart is doing. So let's say for those who trade the strat, if I get in on a, let's say a 2 down, 2 up bullish reversal, and the stop loss under the trigger candle is 50 points, then my stop loss is 50 points. Now, let's say if the next day or in the next hour, if another setup sets up and the candle is, let's say, 100 points, then my stop loss is probably going to be 100 points. So pretty much I just had to size down, because if I'm used to 50 to 60 point candles, I can use bigger size, like a mini contract or things like that. However, I had to resort to using micro contracts to give myself a similar dollar amount loss that I was used to, but also still being able to take the trades and the trade models that I use, which helped a lot. So I highly encourage you guys to do the same if you're, struggling to do the same thing. Now, some things to share with you guys on what to avoid. So, number one, things that you want to avoid. You don't want to get into the over trading mentality, right? You don't want to get into like, oh, I have to win it back. Now, let me take all these low quality trades to get that money back, which is actually going to put you more in the hole that you might be in and keep you in the drawdown struggling phase for a little longer than you actually want to be in there. That's number two. What you want to avoid is abandoning your plan. You do not want to abandon your plan entirely. You really want to take a step back and look at it and be like, all right, what is going on? Is this something that's going on with me? Is this something that's going on with the market? Or is this setup just not viable in these conditions, right? We need to take a step back and analyze on what's happening. You don't want to just because you get frustrated, just abandon your trading plan that has been working for who knows how long. Again, I'm human, just like you guys. I was frustrated as well because I'm like, this is weird. Like this setup was working perfectly fine the last 2, 3 months, and now it's like not working. Like in, I probably maybe had 3 red days in a row with the setup, but now I'm getting like 5 to 7 red days in a row. Like something's going on. So again, don't fully abandon your plan. Just take a step back and analyze on what's going on so we can adjust and make things more efficient, right? Number three, what you don't want to do similar to over trading is revenge trading, right? You're so caught up in being in this drawdown phase that now you're emotionally trading, right? You're taking any setups that appear just to make money, right? You're probably over leveraging, over risking more than you should be, which is going to result in bigger losses. You don't want to get into the trap of, oh, but if I just double my size, then I'm going to get back the loss and more, right? You don't want to do that because you're actually going to take bigger losses and then it's going to take even longer for you to get out of that hole or even worse, blow your account. Remember, the first thing as a trader is being a risk manager. You want to stay in the game. You don't want to be kicked out of the game by blowing your account. So again, the name of the game is surviving. Risk management, always, always, always. Number four is ignoring your self-care, right? In moments of drawdown, at least in my experience in the past, I would get a little discouraged and a little down on myself, and it would kind of make me, or not kind of, it would make me kind of neglect my self-care habits. So, for example, sleeping properly, working out, eating healthy, and things of that nature. So, if that's happening with you, make sure that you're still getting proper sleep. Understand that this is normal, right? We are going to be in moments of drawdown during our trading career. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to last forever, but you need to weather the storm and you need to make sure that you still stick with your self-care routines. So sleeping properly, you don't want to lose sleep and then now you're half awake when you get into the trading session, which will lead you to make more mistakes, right? And make sure to, eat properly, so on and so forth, and take care of yourself. Number five, uh, don't try to make major changes during these drawdown phases. You know, avoid trying to switch strategies in the sense of like I go back to the other one, like abandoning your plan, right? You don't want to fully abandon your plan, especially if it works. It just may not work at this very moment. Again, analyze what's going on, then you can approach it properly. You don't want to make these major decisions where you're like, all right, this thing is not working. I've been red after a week or two. It's like it's only been 2 weeks. What's 2 weeks of being red in 3 or 5 years of trading being green, right? As an example. So make sure that you don't immediately go to change everything, right? Weather the storm, see what's going on, and then properly analyze what's going on so you can adjust accordingly with the market. There's somebody that I know who he's been doing fantastic. And then once that happened in those 2 weeks, he started looking for another strategy. But I'm like, the strategy that you've been using has been working. But unfortunately, the drawdown got to him. So hopefully he sees this so he can wake up. So, some things that we can do to protect our capital and our mindset during these moments. Number one, as I've been mentioning, take a step back and pause for a second, right? Not trading is also a strategy, right? Trading is not something that we can attack every single day and make it work for us. Trading is the opposite. Patience is where when you exhibit patience, that's when you're rewarded, right? So take a step back, see what's going on. If you have to take a few days off or a few weeks off, that's perfectly fine. So you can reset emotionally, and it'll reduce your chances of making impulse decisions. After that happened for me in February, I took 2, 3 days off and the weekend off. I'm like looking at charts extensively, or at least as I usually do, and really spend some time. Is like, all right, what's going on? How can I um, fix what's going on, or how can I better? How can I get a better viewpoint on what's happening? Right. Number two, reviewing your trades without being too judgmental on yourself. Make sure that you're analyzing your trades objectively. Look for specific patterns. Look for specific changes in the market, right? You want to focus really on what's in your control. That way you can overcome it properly. Avoid blaming yourself like, oh, like I just suck as a trader or this and this and that, when it may really just be the market that's changing and you just haven't adjusted properly yet. That's a very dangerous path to go down. So I don't want you guys to experience that or go fully down that path. I've been there and it is not fun, I'll tell you. Number three, as I mentioned, reconnect with your trading plan, right? Take a look at your trading plan, see what's working, see what's not working. Be mindful of your journaling, right? What is your journal telling you? Are the setups working, but you just have to like adjust your take profit and stop loss or your sizing as I did, right? Some things to be mindful of. As always, risk management. Make sure that you are always following your risk management because you do not want to blow your account. Number four, this is more so, of course, for well, I would definitely always encourage it during your trading session so you can be in a logic thinking mindset as opposed to emotionally thinking mindset. So we can use mindfulness and breathing techniques to kind of center ourselves. So, meditation for those who enjoy that. For those who don't enjoy it, I'll link a video in the description that I like to use sometimes in the morning. It's more of a guided meditation as I'm waking up, but you can really use it throughout the day. As well as I mentioned breathing practices. I personally enjoy box breathing because it just causes me to close my eyes, slow down and focus on the breathing practice so I can be back in a mindful state and a logical state as opposed to an emotional one. Highly recommend. Um, Besides journaling your trades, also journal your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions. So how is this period of drawdown making you feel? What is coming up for you, right? You don't want to keep that bottled up because that's going to come out in your trading. And you don't want to have these moments where because you haven't released those thoughts or emotions, now you can potentially be taking it out during your trading session. So very, very important to be mindful of what you're feeling and your thoughts. Also, I like to write it down. I will probably encourage you guys to avoid putting it on your phone or your computer. You really want to get pen and paper. It'll slow down the process and have you be more mindful when you are journaling your thoughts and your emotions. Next, as I mentioned, risk management, right? Lower your risk if you need to. I lowered my risk from using a mini or minis, depending on the setup, to using micros. That way, I'm not taking as big of a hit because of the volatility spike in the markets. So always reduce your position size when applicable. That way you can regain some clarity and not lose all your confidence if you're losing a lot more money than you're comfortable with. And again, remember, paper trading is a thing. If you need to paper trade for a week or two to get your bearings back, that's okay. The market isn't going anywhere. Another thing that you can consider as well is, speaking to a mentor if you have one, or if you have a mentor, definitely speak to them, right? I've had some students come to me. It's like, hey, Desi or Advent, what's going on? Like, I was doing great, and now like I'm struggling a little bit. What's going on? Like, what have you seen? And I've told them, I'm like, look, I've experienced the same thing, and this is what I did, and this is what I would encourage you guys to do as well, which helped them a lot, right? We're not in this by ourselves. There's millions of traders out there. So you're not the only one. So having a mentor or a community that you can speak to about these things can really, really help a lot. And we can also provide insight on what you may not be seeing at the moment. Lastly, you know, I always do this every single day. Practice gratitude and really ground yourself. We're privileged to be able to press buttons and make money, which many people aren't. A lot of people don't even have the money to do so and the knowledge. So always practice gratitude for what you're able to do, what you have, and all that good stuff. Remember, these trades are not going to be your last. There's going to be many, many, many more trades down the line. So just take your time, right? The market's not going anywhere, as I mentioned. So that's pretty much all for today that I have for you guys. Again, if this was helpful at all, definitely share it with anybody that you think may benefit from watching this. Subscribe and like and all that good stuff to help the channel and myself. I always greatly appreciate it. Any comments, if this made sense to you guys or you experienced this, feel free to comment below and we'll talk about it. I'll see you guys for the next one and enjoy your week.